and welcome once again to Open Door from Property CEO. My name is Ritchie and well, you know that because it says it on the screen, but it's good to have you here. And over the next 30 minutes, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of small-scale property development. Always talking to movers and shakers, people out there that are doing things, people that I think you need to listen to, perhaps people you need to meet, perhaps people that you need on your team to work with. Above all, and most importantly, we'll have a bit of fun doing it. So what are we going to be doing on today's show? Well, I've got a real treat for you today. It's often an overlooked area. When people think about their small-scale development and their team to deliver that small-scale development, they think, great, no problem at all. Let's get my project manager up and running. Let's get my cost consultant. Let's get my architect. Let's get my structural engineer. They don't even think about, at that stage, an interior designer. Perhaps they don't even think about an interior designer at all. Is that the right thing? Is that the wrong thing? Well, we're going to find out, because on today's show, I've got Gabriel Avramoaica, who is from a company called ARI Studio, ARI Studio, I think it is, and he's the managing director. Gabriel, are you there?
Yes, Ritchie, yes. Thank you for having me. Nice to be here.
Gabriel, nice to see you. Good to see you. Love your background, your studio there. It looks like you've got samples all over the place. So I guess once we finish the open door, we could choose our bathroom tiling or something off the back of that, yeah?
Definitely. We need to have a design brief first, and then we go and choose those finishes.
Oh, you've got to have a design brief first. So we don't do anything without a design brief. Do you know, that's the right answer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the first step in the process. So you always start with that one. You have to understand your needs, your wishes, what you like and don't like, and go from there.
Good stuff. Gabriel, tell me a bit about who Gabriel Avramoaica is, what your business is, and how you got into this. So just give us a bit of background for everyone today, please.
Yes, definitely. Again, thank you for having me. My background is in interior design. I studied for 8 years industrial design. I did graphic product and eventually graduated in interior design. So having a technical approach towards that really help into our projects, and then we implement on a daily basis. And ever since, I've been working in this field in various places. I had to work my way up from furniture factories. Is the first job I had after graduating uni, and all the way from different manufacturers for kitchens or bathrooms to mid to high ones from entry level, and then eventually put together our company, which is ARI Studio. We're an interior design company. We working with property investors, and we have a very technical approach towards all the projects. So everything that I've seen throughout my time working with various customers, I've seen that a lot of the times, like they're really overwhelmed by what's going to happen next, and there's so many moving items, and then they want to have that certainty that things are taken care of. And I said, why not do exactly what is supposed to be done, like cover everything from start to finish, and have that peace of mind, and then have the clarity, who's going to do what, when, how, costed, and everything. So now the same principle obviously applies to property investing. It's actually more important because we have to work with very strict budgets, and then this comes down to doing your numbers to start with. So this is what we do now. We're working on, like I said, various locations, various projects, and then property development is one of them.
Great stuff. What a fantastic background, actually working almost on the ground, as you say, with various suppliers, kitchens, furnitures, etc. I think that must give you a real hands-on advantage over a lot of people which are just, almost theoretical. Great stuff. Well, thanks for introducing your company. I think, Gabriel, a great place to start, because I know a lot of people will be looking at this, and I don't mean this derogatory, but a lot of people will go, interior designer, isn't that about the cushions and what color paint at the end of the project? Regardless of when they come in, we'll talk about when we should bring an interior design in a minute, but perhaps could you give what your definition would be for developers of what is an interior designer? How should we think of it?
Yes, I hear this a lot, and then people talking about what's going to happen at the end when you're dressing up the room, really. But interior design is the art and science of understanding people's behavior and to create functional spaces within a building which are aesthetically pleasing. So this is exactly the order. you create the functional space, then you go out and dress the room, the area, the house, whatever it might be. So interior design started originally with big projects, especially commercial, and then it was considered something which is premium. And over the years, this came down, and everybody, well, pretty much everyone can afford this. And then it's not a premium product, especially when you're trying to build a product which is going to be there for so many years to come. So what we're trying to establish in our projects is to make sure that the space is functional, meets your need as a consumer, whoever it might be. And then if it's not you that you're going to use the space, the house, it's definitely for someone else. So you have to understand their needs before moving along, and then rather than creating something quite generic, and then you create something which is unique to them. So when they come and see it, it's like they say, wow, because you only have a chance to do a first impression. So that's the idea.
I like that. I like the fact that Gabriel, what you said there, it's about art and science. I love the fact there, because a lot of people think it's an artistic thing, and inevitably it is. But the science thing, there is a process to this and understanding it. And I love the fact that you said it's very much about space and the planning and the usability of that space, and it's not just about the art and the color and so on. So I can see that, and hopefully people have got that. So let me ask the first question then, in terms of this question. I say a lot of people will be thinking, just as an introduction, I said people don't often think about the interior designers, and so people might think about the interior designer at the end, and they might think about dressing the apartments or something like that, or the house to sell or to rent. When should we bring or consider bringing someone like you into our team? At what stage on our project?
As early as possible. When you're discussing layouts with your architect, that will be the time for us to be involved in discussions as well. Because what we do, it's split in a few steps and stages. So first we do space planning. So we work in 2D only. Then making sure that whatever we design, it meets the need of whoever's going to use the space. Then we move on to 3D, designing the kitchens, designing the bathrooms, designing anything. We plot everything that is going to go in the bedrooms and so on. Then after this, we have the plans and elevation service drawings, which the team, they're going to know which they're going to implement once we're doing the work. And only then we go to the finished items, like we produce mood boards with items and give indication which items we need to purchase. But having this clarity, and then knowing, okay, which budget we should allow for, which size bed. For example, you might have a situation when a room can only take a double bed, and the other one will take a king size. Mm-hmm. That dictates which size bedside cabinet you have. That dictates where the sockets are going to go. It's going to be above those bedside cabinets, or if you want a wall light, if you want them centered to that bedside cabinet, you need to know what you're going to specify if it fits within your budget. The same applies to your kitchens. If your kitchen wants to be exactly what a family of 4 needs, you have to design it. And then if you need a bit of space more than you have allowed originally for the kitchen, it's quite easy to move walls at this stage in the process when you're designing the layout. So let's move this wall 30 centimeters away because we can do this with it. So that's why coming in early in the process and then speaking to the architect, speaking to the structural engineer, who might have a few limitations or not, but you can work with them, is a combined effort and say, we need this space. Can we do it? Yes. Can we move this wall so we can achieve this? So internal configuration, it's dictated by the interior design. Having that avatar, okay, we designing this ideally for a family of 3 or 4. So we want to make sure that the product we design, it's exactly for them, meets their needs. So when they come in, the space just flows, meets their needs. So this transfers into quicker sales, so exactly what they need. And then you have like a better understanding of space. And that it has so many implications, which only is a win-win situation for the customer as well, for us as developers. So the quick answer to this is as early as possible in the process, so we can just have those alterations done, and then to customize the space for the consumer.
Can I ask? So a lot of people, I'll ask the question. A lot of people might say, "Well, hang on a minute. I'm bringing the interior designer in here to help with space planning. Doesn't the architect do that?" What would you say to that? Why doesn't the architect do that? You say you're actually going to work in collaboration. Why is that? How is it the architect doesn't do this themselves?
Because the architect, they don't go all the way to completion. They're not going to specify the items they're going to have. They're not going to have. They go into details and then say, okay, obviously they're going to plot. They're going to show in their drawings where the bed is going to be and so on. But that's just in a generic shape for it. You haven't decided on, let's say, if that room, for example, is going to have I don't know, a desk or whatever it might be. They're not going to design the kitchen for you and go into details. They'll just show a generic shape for the kitchen, but it's not necessarily the kitchen that you're going to have eventually. So a lot of the times you'll find yourself in a situation when, let's say, you have the drawings from the architect and say to yourself, okay, now what? Where do I go from here? And then you start going around to, I don't know, kitchen manufacturers, or you go to bathroom and so on, and they'll design this with you. But you're not going to have a full vision for the overall space. It's not a designer that it looks to everything in technical aspects, the looks and everything. So he would suggest a few things, but not necessarily the item they're going to have. So we have to go do a bit of a reverse engineering. You have to understand, okay, who's the customer? Is this? What's the budget we should allow for the items if you're going to have it furnished or not? Once you've done that, you do a list for each room, what's going to have. And within that list, obviously, and then following the budget, then you work with the exact sizes. So which size bed, which size bedside cabinet, where the wardrobe is going to be. If it's, let's say, which size door you're going to have with wardrobe, you have to keep that space clear for the door to open fully, and so on. There's so many aspects which they're not covered by the architect because simply they don't go as much as this unless they have something in house, a service in house, which they go into that much detail. So it's very important to go a bit backwards and then trying to understand what you're trying to achieve and want to make sure the internal configuration allows for it.
Yeah. So what we're saying is it's almost not the skill set of an architect unless they've got it in house. And it's no more the skill than, you wouldn't expect your architect to do your structural engineering. You wouldn't expect your architect to do your interior design. I think that's the reality of what we're saying in the industry. They are very different roles and responsibilities, but that collaborative working can work extremely well. You talked about the avatar, the demographics of who is going to buy or rent these properties that we're developing. So that will inform that interior design. And I totally get that if there's a family of four have a certain requirements, or if it's two professionals, or if it's downsizers, they might have different requirements. What if we don't know? What if we are, if you said to us, well, what's your demographic? Well, we say our demographic could be from young professionals across to maybe a family of four or a couple of elderly downsizers. How do we then design those spaces?
You try to maximize what you're trying to achieve. So you want to make sure that you design for family of four, that being your, let's say, maximum what you can achieve. And then if it's just a single preferred one it'll be really interesting in having that space. Happy days. It is them for go to that level and then pay the price for it. I mean, but already have that customer in mind, so it suits them. But it's for them to just go a bit about what he actually needs. Is a premium product for that. He doesn't really need that, but he might want that. So that's fine. But what we're trying to create, by not compromising the space and then squeezing everything in, we want to make sure that we create the maximum we can achieve for a family of four within that footprint, so to speak. So it goes back to them. It's like, it's almost like you're buying yourself the latest iPhone, whatever it might be. You don't have to buy it. It's your own choice to get that premium product. The same with this. I mean, they're not all 2-bedroom flats, they're all the same. Some are nicer than the other. But want to make sure that within that target customer and what we're trying to achieve, we want to make sure that we matching your the building with the area, with the type of demographics which that area. So once we pretty much on par with what's in the area, we're fine with it. Like I said, anyone willing to go a bit above what they can get, that's fine. If they want it, great. But otherwise, we know that we've done our job, and then making sure that the needs for family of four are met within that unit.
So the need for the family of four is the most is a sort of overriding need, and then that means our design would suit the others over and above what they might like, but actually or need, but they might like it. So actually, you're making a space work for all parties. So very important for us to tell you who our demographics are or could be in that range. I think that's important. And going back in terms of something we just talked about, informing the space, and you've talked a couple of times there about moving walls around. And I think it's fair to say, and perhaps we should tell people today, it's relatively easy to do that at the design stage when we're working on paper, compared to if we brought you in later. That would be really problematic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. And everything should be planned way in advance before starting work. So that's why we're saying we really want to pass the message that it's really important for us to come in the process very early in the process, as soon as the architect is working on drawings, so we can amend those drawings once we've done it. Because once the drawings are done and then given to the building team on site, they know exactly what to do, and then there's no alterations, no changes, which reflects in us wasting time and then paying extra for certain small jobs in here and there, or building materials, things like that. And like I said, it has to be done as early as possible. And then it's quite common from what we do is just to move walls a bit there and so on. So we start with the big picture. We're gonna have this room and this room and that room, right? So we create what we might need for that room, what's the space, and then if we find out that we need a bit of more space there, then we move things along walls or but is a bit of is this process. We go and start in 2D, which is the space planning, then move 3D, and if the 3D dictates that in the kitchen we need a bit more space to allow for let's say, I don't know, for another wine cooler, or to have a wider drawer unit, which you're going to have a 5-ring induction hob, let's say. And then if this is a peninsula, you're going to have, and the space allows it, like going towards the other kitchen run, it's smaller than we like to have, then we have the freedom of moving that wall by another 30 centimeters this way. And then, which a lot of times it doesn't affect much the other room or hallway, whatever it might be. So you can still play around with the layout at this stage quite easily.
So you could, as you say, if you had to get a certain arrangement in the kitchen, rather than having a sort of fait accompli where we've got a kitchen size which the architects determine, and then you can't fit the units in, as you say, the desirability for the demographics is a small wine cooler and a five burner hob. You can't fit it in. Whereas we could have pinched a bit of space off the bedroom, reconfigured the bedroom layout, so that all still worked and the wardrobe fitted in and opened, etc. Ultimately, no extra cost, but we'd have had to do it early.
Correct. Yeah. So interior design should determine the internal configuration and not the other way around. I've been in many situations when I had to make like small compromises. I'm not saying it doesn't work; it's still functional. But it's just like paying a little bit more attention than to those details, and then maximizing what we can do with the space. So going from a 6 or 7 grade, go to 8 or 9 or even more. So that's paying attention to these details so early in the process that can make like a really good impact on what you can achieve with the build.
You're talking just now about the detailing of all the elements of exactly where the lights would be, the plugs in the bedroom, the kitchen layout, the plugs, the doors and everything. I guess that is going to massively help in not only the fixed pricing of a contractor, but the ability for the contractor just to get on with the project with everything detailed, doesn't it?
Correct. So once we give a schedule of works to the contractor, he's gonna want to know, okay, how many PowerPoints, where are going to be located, and so on. And then if we just give like an estimation, okay, we might have, just give an example, we might have 60 PowerPoints within this house. Maybe not. The way they cost everything is like to understand, okay, how many you're going to have, how much you're going to pay the electrician, and so on. And then all this reflects on the price it's going to give. And then we don't want the project itself, it's complicated enough. And then why add another layer to it if it can be avoided so early in the process? The same applies for kitchen or bathrooms. And if we want to create something quite unique, and then we might have in the bathroom, we're going to have a niche in the shower area with the lighting on or not. And then we in the kitchen might have this and this appliances. So we give exactly the consumption which he needs to run a cable for induction hob or these ovens, this fridge, and so on. Not to mention that we're going to be able to cost everything early in the process. So you can cost the kitchen, you can cost the bathrooms, we know the flooring going to have, how many square meters, and so on, which kind of sockets you're going to have. And not so it's not just giving like a clarity to the contractor, but also give us clarity because we already costed all these items, and then it's part of our like due diligence when we do the numbers and working out how much this is going to cost. Because I see a lot of times this is left towards the end, and then so many times then that compromise is done. You know what? This is costing too much. Let's go with the cheaper item, and then ultimately you're not going to achieve the result with you envisage early on in the process. So having that clarity early on, then you know for sure, okay, that there's so many moving parts in a project like this. So you can always like juggle things. So you can spend more on certain items and spend less on something else. But if you're overall within a budget, which we have part of our the brief process early on in the process, so there are so many ways nowadays, and a lot of manufacturers, they have various so many choices to choose from for various ranges and so on, and then they'll be surprised what I can achieve still within a relatively small budget. Can achieve some great results.
So what I think we're saying there is, from a developer's point of view, when you're working with us as developers very early on, before we've even gone out to the contractor, there's a large element of the project we can price. If that price, working with the cost consultant overall in the project, doesn't stack up, we've still got time with someone like you to find alternative materials that don't compromise the design, but can still work within the budget. So we've got an opportunity to work our design and budget at a very early stage before we're up against it with a contractor.
Correct. And what we're trying to achieve, to be within a very strict budget, for us to put something in, let's say, give an example, put £5,000 in, which looks like 15. So to give that impression of, okay, this is done, this is designed nicely, and then it doesn't look like it's something just to be functional and so on. The problem with once you know you have like strict budget, then you're going to go to your regular retailers, which you know we can achieve those prices. The problem with that, you can't really rely on someone behind the desk at that shop designing everything for you. He's only working on that bit alone. Let's say your kitchen units. That's it. He's not going to look at the flooring. He's not going to look at color paint. He's not going to tell you whether some directional lighting, truck lighting is going to be positioned and so on to create a more drama into the space. You might have mirrors, you might have paneling, things like that. There's so many elements which are quite inexpensive to put in, but give that a bit of a push, and then to bring a property from something which is standard, quite average, push into a more like a premium product. Now, there's so many things we can, like I said, you can just add a bit of have a bit of an input early in the process, and then we'll look. It's definitely something. Put a lot more, and then like I said, it's one. You have only one chance to do your first impression. So with this one, you're gonna get like a full understanding of the overall property.
I like the fact that you said there, Gabriel, you could spend £5,000 and make it look like 15. I think that is the art of good design, whether it's any design, interior design particularly. It doesn't necessarily have to cost a lot. And come back then, I think, to this point about the specification of everything. If we flushed all that out, that's gone to the contractor. I guess we're going to be in a position now where the contractor hasn't got any real cause for claims for delay coming back to us while we're trying to answer his question of specification. He's got all the design. he can just, from a contractual point of view, go and get on, order it and build it. So there's no delays to us, really, is there?
Not really, no. So obviously, early on in the process, we're going to have a design brief, then have budgets for the room, for each area, and so on. And then we start specifying. So according to those budgets, we start designing. So we're not just designing a generic kitchen or generic bathroom and so on. Yeah. The same goes for the finished items, whatever flooring, lighting, and all the soft furniture, like your bed and desk and so on. So each room will have a dedicated budget, and we design it accordingly. And once we went through that process and making sure that everything is fine, we like it, and it fits in the room, it's functional, then we have costing for it. And then when the time is right, then we can go ahead and place order for those items. So go to the manufacturer which we said we're going to use, and then we know, let's say this kitchen is going to take us, I don't know, take 3 or 4 weeks to arrive. And we place the order now, then we'll have it on time, rather than be quite late in the process. Okay, let's go and then find something which is in stock, and then a lot of times that says compromise.
Yeah, absolutely. And then think about, we talked about cost a couple of times. There's obviously a cost to the interior design, but when we're looking at obviously I think there's great cost savings in the flow of the process with the contractor and the avoidance of delays and compromise. But just thinking about our end product, a good interior designer is likely to increase the end value or the sellability of what we're going to design. Would that be fair?
Yes, very fair. Yeah. What we do is transform directly into the properties being sold faster, being rented a lot faster. So obviously time is money. So we're not just talking about the actual sell value. You're actually saying this could sell a lot faster. So not only might it sell for more money, it's going to sell faster because people are going to come in and go, oh wow, they don't always know how, but somehow this has been designed well, so they love it. That's one aspect of it, faster. Yeah, because a lot of times when people are scrolling through all the listings, if you find something which is a bit or a lot more above the average, they'll stop, and then you'll get like a lot more interest than you usually get. That's so. First is time, then you'll sell faster or rent faster. Then a lot of times you've seen that you actually can increase the GE by have like a better design product. Yeah, that's another aspect. And not to mention that we actually overlook what's happening on site. We're almost like project manager of the interiors. So we get in touch with the construction, the liaise with them, and then you have clear specification what's what. And then if you have that clarity that's going to cost you only this much early on in the process, you don't have to compromise on certain items in here. So you wouldn't start building a house without having clear drawings from an architect. And so many times the interiors they're like overlooked, and then it's okay, I'll deal with this when it comes. But like I said, interior design is about functional spaces within a budget, and then making sure that we maximize what we can do with it. So the same amount of detail like an architect will put in interiors as well. Yeah, so it's like the way we see like three different aspects at least, which we can increase value, we can increase rents, and faster turnarounds, and also managing this project internally.
I love it. I mean, what's not to like about that? As developers, we're not only gonna build it with less problems with our contractor, we're gonna get on with it, we're gonna get the product we want, we're gonna sell or rent it faster, and we might get more money for it as well. That can't be bad. Gabriel, look, that has been fantastic. I really appreciate you coming on. I think that will have opened people's eyes today. I know you absolutely specialize in development. How can people reach out and contact you if they want to? What's the best contact details?
Right, so people can reach to me on Facebook. Is my name, Gabriel Avramoaica, and they can just visit our website, which is aristudio.co.uk. You can even drop me a text or call me on 07904 341 353.
Can you just mention that phone number again? Just mention the phone number.
07904 341 353. And I'm all the other social platforms as well, like LinkedIn. I'm quite active over there. And then I'll make sure that I'll come back to you as soon as.
Great stuff. And do you cover projects all across the country, or is there a specific geographical location?
No, we have projects even internationally. We're working on a project now in Spain. It's quite a big project, and another one in Portugal, and also have projects throughout the country. So a lot of times, the developer might have someone there on site checking everything. So I'm not necessarily going to be liaising with the billing team, but I might liaise with, let's say, the QS there or the project manager where might be. So we have like a full-on discussion between us. And then usually once you have the drawings, you know what to do. The same with an architect will have projects, nationwide or international as well.
Brilliant. Gabriel, thank you for coming on. I do appreciate that. And hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Ritchie. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Wow. I mean, how good was that? You're going to save money. Okay. You're going to save time. You're going to get the thing, sold quicker. People are going to be more interested with it. And it's going to be a far better product. Okay. So absolutely fantastic. Please reach out to Gabriel Avramoaica at ARI Studio. He's given you all his details. I will put all his contact details in the show notes for you. We'll get them put in there. If you are interested in small scale development and you think you want to get into it, you want to dip your toe in the water, grab a pen and paper. I'm going to give you a link for a bit of free training. propertyceo.co.uk/SFR. So that's propertyceo.co.uk/SFR. It's called a 6-figure roadmap. There's a bit of free training on how you can get into property development, small scale development, and make 6 figures. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's Open Shore show. If you do, please like it and share it with others. And we look forward to seeing you back here again soon. Cheers now. Bye-bye.